Right, hello lads and lasses, welcome back to Boys Down Under, where today we are looking at the current Celtic squad and just analysing it and seeing whether it is good enough to win us the Scottish Premiership and winning us £40 million. A huge fee and a huge sum of money. Before we go any further though, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to help support the channel grow, and I'd be forever appreciative of you guys if you did that. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, Celtic squad at the beginning of this year was in absolute shambles, and no one can say otherwise. We had a majority of the squad didn't want to be there, and it was as simple as that, you know. But after two transfer windows, you know, the squad is just starting to look a bit better and a bit more stable, I guess we could say. And it certainly has a lot more structure to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each position individually, and we're going to assess whether there is enough breadth and depth in that squad that Ange Postecoglou has that we can win the league with, you know. And the key word, it's a key phrase, it's quality depth, because it's all good having, you know, a squad of 50 players, but if it's a squad of 50 shit players, that isn't going to win you anything. But as a disclaimer, just before we go any further, I'm not going to include any of the B team players, even the ones who have featured for Celtic this season, because although they are, you know, handy to have in the case of emergencies, they aren't the players that we should be relying on. We should be relying on the first team squad that we have. So we're starting with the goalkeeping spot. We're going to go from end of the pitch to the start of the pitch, overall from the bottom to the top. But goalkeeper, and the Celtic have the availability of Joe Hart, Scott Bain and Vasilius Barkas. And I'll be honest, it isn't the strongest of trios, you know, but you can only play one goalkeeper at a time, and the one goalkeeper we happen to have is a world-class goalkeeper in Joe Hart. And so personally, for me, this goalkeeper spot is not an issue, because even if, you know, we have Joe Hart in goals, who is always there just in case we need a huge save, just in case, you know, our defense falters and we need someone to step up. Joe Hart is always there, and he always plays consistently. And even if Joe Hart isn't there, you know, I think our defense is strong enough that the goalkeeper isn't too important to this team, albeit Joe Hart, he's a natural leader, you know, I think. But when we've seen Scott Bain play, when we've seen Barkas play, they have conceded, but that's because of defensive errors, and, you know, the keepers have been taken out of the equation. So, look, I think goalkeeping spot, very, very strong. Into the right back spot, Celtic have got the option of Josip Juranovic, or the bricky Tony Ralston. Now, both great right backs. Juranovic has certainly appeared to be different gravy very recently before he fell ill. Hopefully, he can continue that dominance on his return. Whether that, I think that'll be against Bodo Glimt, but Juranovic has been absolutely incredible for us so far. You know, and Tony Ralston himself, the bricky, he has been having a season to remember. You know, it's unfortunate Juranovic came in and was so good, because otherwise Ralston would be our starting right back week in, week out. You know, he's earned himself a new contract. He's had some memorable moments in a Celtic jersey. That last-minute winner against Ross County is still very, very fresh in my mind, and he has been playing out of his skin. So obviously, our two right backs that we have at the club are incredible. And I would be content with either one playing. You know, whenever we see the lineup, I never look at right back, because I know either way it's going to be a very strong position. But obviously, it would be nice to have a third option there. However, if worse does come to worse, you know, we certainly have a host of players in the B team who could fill that right back spot and could certainly put in a shift. They're young, they're energetic, they're full of, they will do a job. But moving into the centre-back spots, and it's a spot where Celtic currently have a considerable amount of depth. You know, our current centre-backs that start are CCV and Carl Starfelt. However, we also have Stephen Welsh, Christopher Jullien and Dane Murray available. And yes, Dane Murray is listed as on the first team. There's also Liam Scales. He has the potential to play centre-back. However, he predominantly plays left-back or CB in a 3-back. And look, people still have their doubts about Starfelt, which is fair enough. You know, CCV, however, has won the heart of everyone. He has won everyone over. He is an absolute saviour at the back. Welshie performs if called upon. You know what you're going to get from Stephen Welsh. Nothing spectacular, but he plays for the badge. He plays for the badge. He's a boyhood hero. You know, not a hero, but a boyhood fan of this club. Like, I can't say much more about him. Homegrown talent. There we go. Then Julien, if called upon, I believe, will also perform. So that is, we have 2 starting centre-backs. We also have a pair of backup centre-backs available. Then you also have Dane Murray, who came in handy earlier in the season, but certainly is getting good minutes in the B team right now. However, he did do very well early in the season when we needed him. But look, yet again, the centre-back spot, not an issue at all, because if one of the players gets injured, we can just fill in with Stephen Walsh or Christopher Julien now. However, if it is CCV, I will be a lot more worried than if it is Starfelt. Nothing against Starfelt, but CCV has been the in-form centre-back for Celtic this year and in the league as far as that goes, because he has been the best, without a doubt. Moving into the left-back spot, and this is a position there has been questions about all season. The supporter base cannot get a definite agreement on who should start left-back. It's narrowed down to 2 players right now in Taylor and Scales. But, it appears Ange is a huge fan of Greg Taylor, and it's quite clear it is his position to lose. Scales always performs when he's been thrown into the deep end. I'd say arguably man of the match against Wraith Rovers. There's also Bolly Bolingoli, mental he's still at the club. Juranovic, he can play left back, but I think his days of going there are over, unless, an injury crisis hits out again. But I think the left back spot, it's certainly not our strongest spot in terms of quality. I still think there are better left backs out there we can get over Greg Taylor. However, in saying that, Greg Taylor has certainly proved me wrong this season. So too has Liam Scales. And I think it's certainly a position that is quite strong and will certainly be strong enough to take us to the end of the season. And then in the off-season, we can look at whether we need to upgrade it or not. Because you got to remember, Greg Taylor signed a new contract this season, so he's going to be at this club for a while, and Ange certainly sees a future for him at this club. Now, that's the defence done. Moving into the midfield, and we'll begin with the centre defensive midfield spot. And another heads up, players are going to cross over in these positions a lot, because our midfield is very, very versatile, and I am loving every minute of it. And the defensive mid spot has so many options. It's Callum McGregor's spot right now. He is the captain of this club. He is the best CDM we have at this club. And if he is fit and available with his Phantom of the Opera mask, I have no doubt in my mind he should start there. But if we do need him to push upfield or need to give him a rest, we have Near Baton as a clear backup. Yusuke Itaguchi returning from injury, also a great player to have in that position. Then you also have, the stragglers in James McCarthy and Ismail Asoro, who will get on if necessary, if there does turn out to be a bit of a crisis in the midfield spot, which there was a bit when we had McGregor injured and Baton suspended. But, McGregor got back in. We did have, they're rotational players, they're bench players. It is what it is. But to have 3 real quality players in McGregor, Baton, and Yusuke available for CDM, that is a very strong position and a very crucial position for any team. Winning that ball back in CDM, if you have someone like there who is world class, you will certainly win your matches. Just look at N'Golo Kante at Chelsea. So the box-to-box role now, it's a spot in which David Turnbull had a strong hold on until he got it in his injury. Now Rio has overtaken him, and it is Rio's spot to lose. He's been sensational since he joined the club. But if, God forbid, anything were to happen to Rio Hatate, not only would I go into a depression, but I wouldn't. I'm just joking. McGregor would be able to move up to centre mid. I think that would be the most sensible option. You move McGregor up and put someone else in CDM. However, Yasuki can also play centre mid, so can McCarthy, so can Matt O'Reilly. David Turnbull, when he returns, could be his position, but it has to be Rio Hatate starting as the box-to-box without a doubt. We all know it's true, and no one can say otherwise. But look, the centre mid spot, we have such great depth in there because our midfield is so versatile and we have such quality players. Then the attacking mid role. Right now, you can't be starting anyone bar the Wizard of Oz, Tom Rogic. He has to play every single match that is crucial to our season, that every single match that tests the chat proves a challenge for Celtic. And, O'Reilly, for his age, is incredible. I can't lie. He has came to this league and he has brought his MK Dons form with him. And he has such a bright future at Celtic ahead of him. And I would be just as happy to see his name on the team sheet. But the Wizard of Oz has to be there if he is fit and available. But, there's also other options. Rio Hatate, he can play cam. Ange even said his best position is attacking mid. Although, And I would not be against seeing him play at cam. David Turnbull too. He can have a shift at cam, albeit he's not as strong as our other options. But still, if the injury crisis occurs again, anything is possible with our midfield. Everyone can play everywhere, and I think it's so great to see. But that leads us into the front three, and we'll begin with the left wing. Starting, it has to be Jota on the wing. No questions asked. He is our best left winger at the moment, albeit he's a right footer. Crazy to think about. Then, you've also got Dyson Maida, very capable left winger, although I think his best spot is at striker. However, we've seen him at left wing. He has got the pace and the pressing ability to play there. Also a good ball into the midfield. He can play good balls into the midfield. Who else? Mikey Johnson. Yes, everyone can groan right now. We do have Mikey Johnson available left wing. Then, in case of emergencies, Kyogo. He can also play left wing. We've seen it happen this season. Although, if you do play Kyogo anywhere other than striker, and I'd seriously question what you're thinking. But moving on to the right wing, yet again, a lot of depth there. A quality depth, I'm saying, because and we've got the in-form Liel Abada as our first choice. He is, since the winter break ended, his form has been very, very, very. I need to find something better to say than very good. It has been absolutely incredible. He's been on an incredible scoring run. I think for such a young player, he has been sensational. Jamesy Forrest, a very capable backup. You know what you're going to get from Jamesy Forrest. He is experienced. He is an old head at the club, albeit he's not even that old yet. We know what we're going to get from Jamesy Forrest. A great player to have there in terms of a backup. Jota can even play right wing. We saw that earlier in the season. Not to mention, young Karamoko Dembele played a full 90 minutes in the Celtic's B team, and he is back in contention too for that right wing spot, so that is an exciting player. Karamoko is very, very exciting, so I would like to see him back in the first team's contention. And yeah, that leads us into the final spot of striker, and striker, I'd say, is probably Celtic's strongest position in the squad. We have the most quality depth there, and because the players we have that can play there are incredible. After two transfer window, after one, blah, 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 blah. Scrap what I was saying. Back to striker position. Since Kyogo went out injured, Celtic have not lost a game. We have not dropped points even since Kyogo went out injured for the second time against St. Johnston. I think it just shows how the quality we have in this team for that striker role. Look at it. Georges Giacomakis, he has won back the Celtic supporters without a doubt. I love GG. He is an incredible footballer. He gives everything on the line. He may not be as quick as Kyogo or Dyson. He may not have the same movement, but he puts his all out there. You can see when he gets subbed off, he is absolutely buggered. Seriously, he is buggered because he presses like a madman. He comes back defensively. He's always there with a supporting run. GG, hats off to you. You've been scoring goals as well to reward yourself. Dyson Maida, geez, he is quick. The camera can barely track him. He's that quick. And if you are the opposition and Dyson Maida is there at striker and he is pressing you, Lord have mercy on your defense, whoever the manager is, because you are going to have a tough, very tough time when he is there and he is defending. And look, when Kyogo returns, he will be the starting striker. I think he walks back into this team without a doubt. What he's done for us this season, he earns that spot. He has a lock on it, even though he's injured. No one can say otherwise. Even if all three of them get injured, Ayeti and Johnny Kenny, we have them as backups as well. Ayeti, there's still a good striker in there, but he isn't the right fit for Celtic. And Johnny Kenny, we still haven't seen anything of him, but I really do want to because he's being touted as a wonder kid. And when you hear about a wonder kid, all I can think of and all you can think of is excitement, and that's what I want to see with him. But look, the striker position is clearly Celtic's strongest position with depth, quality depth. It is, and I even forgot Liel Abada. Liel Abada can play striker as well, something that completely slipped my mind. But look, after looking at that Celtic team, is there any doubts from anyone? Any of you subscribers, can any of you honestly say that this Celtic team has not got the capabilities of winning the league? And it's incredible, after 8 months, 2 transfer windows, we've gone from a team in shambles to a team that is winning the league and can certainly a team that has the best depth in Scotland. It is the best team in Scotland by far in terms of squad players. And I have no doubt in my mind, we win this league. We can win this league. Will we win the league? I cannot 100% say for sure, but we have the squad to do so. It is now about getting those results and maintaining a fit and healthy squad. You know, injuries are inevitable in teams, but the coaching staff can do everything they can, and I'm sure they are doing everything they can to minimize the risk of injury. And because when we're playing in the league, we're playing in the Scottish Cup, and we're potentially going to have a very deep Conference League run. That's 3 competitions we're in, and heading into the back end of the season where it's make or break in the league. 1 point separates us and Rangers. It's gonna be a very, very tumultuous time for Celtic. Ange is gonna need every single player fit and healthy. Rotation is gonna be key. And yes, look, as long as we keep everyone fit, this squad is dangerous. The depth of this squad is incredible. It's incredible. I can't say much more than that. And it's scary to think what more this Celtic team can, like how much better this Celtic team can get in another couple transfer windows, and if we take home £40 million with automatic Champions League qualification. But that is all from me. So remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave in the comments below what you guys think of this Celtic squad. Has it got the capabilities to win the league, or are there any positions you are very worried about and you think we need better options in? I can see a lot of comments saying the left back spot, but for me, I think, like I said earlier, I think that's a spot that we can make do until the end of the season. But like I said, that is all from me. So until next time, hail, hail.